guys, it's me, Miss Mills, and the whole point of this video is to help go over the slope formula notes that you're supposed to be doing on Monday. On Tuesday for my class, you're supposed to do IXL Y2. I'm about to make another video after I make this one on how to do that. So if you have trouble with Y2, you can always watch that video, and you can do it with me, so that'll be always fun. The whole point of this video, though, is to go over the slope formula notes. You have to write down these notes on Monday, look at the examples, and then you can use this for Y2, which you have to do on Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is Thanksgiving break, so you're not expected to do anything for me on those days. Of course, I want you to spend time with your family and enjoy time at home with your family. So there's nothing for anyone on those days because it's going to be Thanksgiving break. But let's go ahead and get started. So here's the slope formula notes. I made it into a Google slide for you. I don't know why. I'm just trying to figure out which one I like better. Is it Google Slide or Google Forms? Honestly, y'all can come back and give me your input, and whatever y'all tell me y'all like the best, I'll probably continue doing that. So if you're watching this video and you hate Google Forms as notes, just tell me and I'll start making these. Or if you prefer the Google Forms, tell me and I will make those instead of this. So guys, it's up to you. I have no preference, but this time I decided to make a Google slide. But let's go ahead and get started. So what is the slope formula? So the slope formula, when you look at slope, the slope is always seen as rise over run. So when you're looking at a graph, how you find the slope from last week, remember, how you find the slope is you figure out how much does it rise, and then how much does it run across, because you always read a graph from left to right, and that's going to be your slope. The rise is going to be your numerator, and how much you ran is going to be your denominator. So when you look at rise over run, that is also the same as your change of y over your change of x. Since that is the case, we have this beautiful thing called the slope formula, and it is this right here. It is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you're probably wondering, what the heck do I put in there? That's a good question, and we will do some examples in a second, and I'll show you what you put into the slope formula. But I like the slope formula because it is a foolproof way to figuring out what the slope is when you don't have a graph. You can just use 2 coordinate points on the graph and figure out what the slope is. So the next slide, we have the steps of using the slope formula. Step 1 is you're going to pick 2 points on the line or on the table, or if you're doing IXL Y2, it chooses the coordinates for you. So you're going to pick those 2 points. You're going to label those points as y1, y2, x1, and x2. I'll show you exactly how to do that in a second. And I just put a little reminder in here. When you're reading the coordinates, you're always going to read them as x and then y. That's what coordinates are. The first number is always x, and the second number is always going to be a y. Once you have them labeled, step 3 is to put them into the formula. Make sure you do it consistently and correctly. And once you put it in the formula, you just have to simplify. And then you can reduce the fraction, the answer, if you need to. If you don't need to simplify it, then that's going to be your slope, and you're done. That's all you have to do. So let's look at this first example real quick. So the first example I chose is if you have a table like this, how would you pick out your 2 points? Well, if you have a table like this, here's your x's and here's your y's. Your x and then your y, this is how it would be on a coordinate. I put this over here to help you read it. Don't let the tables freak you out and be like, I don't know what this is. Your table has your coordinates, and this is how you would write them down if you were putting them into the slope formula. So again, you just choose 2 coordinates. I'm going to choose this first coordinate, 0 and 5, and then 2 and 6, because I feel like subtracting them would be a lot easier because these have decimals in them. So I can go ahead and write down those 2 coordinates. So let me do that real quick on my iPad. I chose 0 and 5, and then I chose 2 and 6. Cool. So once I have those, and everything I'm doing on my iPad is right here too, so just putting that out there. Once I have those, I can go ahead and label them. So what I always do is, again, when you're reading a coordinate, it's always going to be seen as x and then y. So that means that the first number is always going to be an x, and the second number is always going to be a y. That is going to be across the board for the rest of your life. So this first number is an x, and the second number is a y, and then the first number here is an x, and then this is a y. Okay, cool. You're done with that. Then you just have to figure out which one do I want to make x1 and which one do I want to make x2, and then y1 and then y2. What I always like to do is the first coordinate I see, I want to make that x1 and y1, and then the second coordinate I see, I want to make that x2 and y2. You can flip that if you want to. It's completely up to you, but whatever you choose, just do that consistently across the board. That way, you don't confuse yourself in the long run. So again, this is the first coordinate I see. It's this one right here. So I'll go ahead and label this as x1 and y1. And since this is the second coordinate I'll see, I'll go ahead and label this as x2 and y2. And once you label them, you put them into the slope formula. So let's go ahead and do that. The first part of the slope formula is y2. You can see that right here. I chose y2 to be 6 right here. So I'll go ahead and put that in. We have 6. And I can mark that out once I put it in. It's going to be y2 minus y1. y1 I decided to make 5, so I can mark that out. And then x2 is going to be 2. That's what I decided to make it. And then x1 is going to be 0, so I'll go ahead and put that in as well. And once you have this, you just simplify across. 6 minus 5 is going to be 1, and then 2 minus 0 is going to be 2. And you're done. 1/2 cannot be reduced. This is going to be a positive slope because there's no negatives on there. So therefore, that is going to be your answer. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So if you go back to the notes real quick, I just did all of that here. I labeled the points right here. I put them into the slope formula. That's this right here. And then I simplified, and that's going to be your slope. And that's it. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, remember to talk to me, and we'll go ahead and figure that out together. So once you've had that, I just put it on a graph just to help you out. I picked those 2 points. I put the points right here. And then once I had the points, I read the graph. I go up 1 because here's the next coordinate is 1. So we went up 1. We rose 1. Rising is going to be your numerator. So we went up 1, and then we ran 2 points. So that's going to be your denominator. So that means that we are correct. This is a positive slope. So then you're ready to go on to the next part. So sometimes, though, you're going to have a graph. So again, you can just look at the graph and figure out what the slope is. But again, you don't have to do that. You can use the slope formula to figure out what the slope is too. So we'll just do this real quick as well. Let me just erase everything on this iPad. So when you have a graph like this, you just have to choose 2 points like you did on the table up here. I chose 2 points, so I chose these points already for you. I chose this point, which is 0, 0, so I'll go ahead and write that down. And the second point I chose is going to be 3, -2. All right, so I chose 2 points on the line. Cool. Again, you don't have to put this into the slope formula because you can figure out what the slope is just by looking at the graph, but putting it into the slope formula is a foolproof way to make sure you did not mess up. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, everything I'm doing on the iPad is right here. So just putting that out there. All right, let's label it. Since this is the first coordinate I see, I'll just make this x1 and y1. Whoa, why did I do that? y1, cool. And since the second one's the second coordinate I'll see, I'll make that x2 and y2. And once I have those labeled, I'll just throw those into the slope formula real quick. So I decided to make -2 y2, so I'll go ahead and put that in. We're subtracting that by y1, which is 0. And then we have x2, which is 3. And we're going to subtract that by x1, which is 0. Once you have that, you just have to simplify across. This one's super easy because you don't really have to do anything because -2 minus 0 is -2, and then 3 minus 0 is 3. Cool. You can't reduce this. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. You cannot reduce this. This is also going to be a negative slope. So once you have this, you're done. That's your slope right there. So let's look back real quick. I just did all this. I labeled the points. I put them in the slope formula. I simplified, and there's your answer. So that's everything I just did, and you're done. And if you're looking at it and you look at the graph, you know you did it right because if you chose any other 2 points on the graph, the slope would still be the same. Also, you know you're right because this is also a negative slope. If you had a little man at the top, he would be sliding down when you read the graph from left to right. So there you go, you're done. Guys, if you need to see more examples, I will be making another video to help you with Y2. I highly recommend watching that video, but as of right now, I'm done with this one. Except I want to show you one more thing. I did promise that last week when y'all made y'all slope people that I was going to show you my favorite slope people. I haven't gotten that many people submit their slope people in yet, but I'll show you my favorite ones from this week, and then next week I'll probably show you some more that I really liked. So let's go ahead and go to my here real quick. The first one I have is the first person who turned it in. They're getting an honorable mention because, first of all, their slope person's really good, and second of all, it was the first person to turn it in, so I thought that was cool too. So the first one we have is this one right here. This is Coraline. This was done by Jakia Hendricks. I really like it because I would have never even thought about this. In Coraline, she has the button for eyes. She decided to make this incorporate slope person into her Coraline drawing because of the button eyes, is the plus sign. So I thought that was really cool. She did an excellent job, and I think that's awesome. She's also the first person to turn in, so way to be on time. And the other one I really liked, the reason I liked this one was because as soon as I saw it, I laughed because I knew exactly who it was before I even read who it was. She did such a good job. I never would have even thought about it. That's why it was just so random. It was hilarious. So here we are. Lucy Short drew Danny DeVito slope. Again, I knew exactly who it was before I even read this part right up here. So good. Never would have thought of it. Good job, Lucy. And good job, Jakia. So if y'all have any more slope people y'all want to turn in, this goes for everybody. I'll look at all of them and I will put some more into the next video because they are really good and they're really fun to look at. Guys, I'm done with this video. So if you have any questions for me, remember just or you can email me, or you can send me a private message, or you can call the school and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving break, and I'll see you later. Bye.